Good afternoon, Riverdale School. This is Mr. Paris coming to you from my mother's dining room again with our weekly Friday lunchtime read-alouds. Now, I hope you had a chance to look at the picture that I posted yesterday that gave you a teaser of what today's story will be. The picture that I posted was of a viola, which is an instrument, a string instrument that's played. Now, viola sounds an awful lot like the name Viola, like Viola Swamp, who is a character in this week's read aloud of Miss Nelson is Missing. Miss Nelson is Missing is written by Harry Allard and James Marshall. And it's about the students of room 207. And what you're going to be seeing in this book is the students are not exactly the best behaved students in the school. They are taught by the lovely Miss Nelson, who's trying her best to do what she can for her students and teach her students and give them story time, and those students just won't listen. Well, enter Viola Swamp, who helps fix the situation. So I want you to be thinking about, while I'm reading this book, what would I do if my teacher did this? What if all of a sudden my teacher went missing and we had a substitute teacher like Viola Swamp? So without further ado, we have Miss Nelson is Missing. The kids in room 207 were misbehaving again. Spitballs stuck to the ceiling. Paper planes whizzed through the air. They were the worst behaved class in the whole school. Now settle down, said Miss Nelson in a sweet voice. But the class would not settle down. They whispered and giggled. They squirmed and made faces. They were even rude during story hour. And they always refused to do their lessons. Something will have to be done, said Miss Nelson. The next morning, Miss Nelson did not come to school. Wow, yelled the kids. Now we can really act up. They began to make more spitballs and paper planes. Today, let's just be terrible, they said. Not so fast, hissed an unpleasant voice. Hold on one second. Well, a woman in an ugly black dress stood before them. I'm your new teacher, Miss Viola Swamp, as she rapped the desk with her ruler. Where is Miss Nelson? Asked the kids. Never mind that, snapped Miss Swamp. Open those arithmetic books. Miss Nelson's kids did as they were told. I don't know, I think I look a little bit like her. They could see that Miss Swamp was a real witch. She meant business. Right away, she put them to work, and she loaded them down with homework. Oof. We'll have no story hour today, said Miss Swamp. Keep your mouth shut, said Miss Swamp. Sit perfectly still, said Miss Swamp. And if you misbehave, you'll be sorry, said Miss Swamp. The kids in room 207 had never worked so hard. Days went by, and there was still no sign of Miss Nelson. The kids missed Miss Nelson. Maybe we should try to find her, they said. Some of them went to the police. Hold on one second. Detective McSmog was assigned to the case. He listened to their story. He scratched his chin. He said. I think Miss Nelson is missing. Detective McSmog would not be much help. Other kids went to Miss Nelson's house. The shades were tightly drawn, and no one answered the door. In fact, the only person they did see was the wicked Miss Viola Swamp coming up the street. If she sees us, she'll give us more homework. They got away just in time. Maybe something terrible happened to Miss Nelson. Maybe she was gobbled up by a shark, said one of the kids. But that didn't really seem likely. Maybe Miss Nelson went to Mars, said another kid. But that didn't seem likely either. Oh, I know, exclaimed one know-it-all. Maybe Miss Nelson's car was carried off by a swarm of angry butterflies. But that was the least likely of all. The kids in room 207 became very discouraged. It seemed that Miss Nelson was never coming back, and they would be stuck with Miss Viola Swamp forever. They heard footsteps in the hall. Here comes the witch, they whispered. Hello, children, someone said in a sweet voice. It was Miss Nelson! Did you miss me? She asked. We certainly did, cried all the kids. Where were you? That's my little secret, said Miss Nelson. How about a story hour? Oh, yes, cried the kids. Miss Nelson noticed that during story hour, no one was rude or silly. What brought about this lovely change? She asked. That's our little secret, said the kids. They look awfully sweet now. Back home, Miss Nelson took off her coat and hung it in the closet, right next to an ugly black dress. When it was time for bed, she sang a little song. I'll never tell, she said to herself with a smile. And I want you to take a look at that picture. Look really close. I think you can see the dress hanging in the closet. Also, I noticed that there's a box that says wig on it. And take a look at the table and what's over there. As I'm looking at this picture, I'm thinking, I think I know who the real Miss Viola Swamp was. Oh, P.S. Detective McSmog is working on a new case. He is now looking for Miss Viola Swamp. So I want you to talk with someone at home, if you haven't figured it out already, is who exactly was Miss Viola Swamp, and did Miss Nelson have anything to do with Miss Viola Swamp coming into the classroom? But I also want to mention this to you as well, my students who are watching. When you're at home during the school closures and your families are trying to work and they're trying to get you to do your schoolwork, and you're deciding, nah, I'm at home, I'd rather play video games, or no, I'm not gonna pick up after my lunch, I don't wanna do that, I'm just gonna misbehave because I'm home and I can do what I want. I want you to think about it. Do you think your parents would ever send a Miss Viola Swamp to your house? Be careful what you wish for and value what you have. I hope you've enjoyed this story hour, and I'm very much looking forward to next week's lunchtime story with you. Have a great Friday and a great weekend. I'll see you next week.